Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully, I'll be able to address them all as I go through the forecast. But if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines and what we're tracking out for the next couple of days. It's going to be mostly clear and mild through the rest of the night tonight. It was a very warm day today, and with winds still coming from the south, our temperatures aren't going to drop all that much headed into the overnight hours, and it's still going to be fairly warm even through the start of the work week, and that's all out ahead of this very slow-moving cold front that's going to be moving in here mainly on Tuesday, but we will catch some showers and thunderstorms starting tomorrow, lingering into Wednesday morning. But I think our greatest risk for any kind of strong or severe thunderstorm is going to be tomorrow and then again on Tuesday. So that's why I have those alerts in place. And as it stands right now, we aren't looking at widespread severe weather, but a couple of warnings here and there are certainly possible over the next 2 days. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. And then looking beyond just Tuesday through Wednesday, it looks like we may still stay on the unsettled side and a little bit cooler headed into the end of the work week. We're not looking at a washout by any means, but we do have the chance for at least a few spot showers through mainly Thursday, Friday, and possibly more so headed into next weekend. So I'll break down all those details in a moment, but let's get into what we had today. We topped out in the upper 80s for the most part across the tri-state. A few locations did reach 90 degrees here in the tri-state, but Evansville, we only got to around 88 this afternoon. They did reach 90 down towards Bowling Green. So anomalous warmth across the area. We're running around 10 degrees above average for this time of year. And we've cooled down a little bit by around 7 degrees, 10 degrees or so, depending on your location. So we're sitting at around 81 in Evansville and Newburgh, 77 in Sturgis and out towards Owensboro, 75 in Greenville, and around 76 up towards Mount Carmel and Oakland City. And over the next 12 hours, like I said before, we'll have winds still coming up from the south, so that's going to keep temperatures on the milder side overnight tonight. So we'll only drop down into the upper 60s to right around 70 degrees for our morning lows. So no need for a jacket as you head out to work or school for tomorrow morning. And now taking a look at those alert days for Monday and Tuesday, we aren't looking at widespread severe weather, but a few severe thunderstorms certainly possible on both days. Tuesday has more of the slight risk across the entire area, whereas Monday still looks more isolated. So damaging winds and hail will be our primary threats, I think, for both days, but there is that slight chance for maybe even a brief tornado primarily on Tuesday with how the ingredients are coming together. So here's a look at the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. This is for tomorrow. You can see the tri-state, there are varying degrees of that severe weather risk. Now, starting with the least likely areas to see severe weather tomorrow afternoon will be the southeastern portions of the tri-state. So that's going to be a line from Tell City through Owensboro down into Mattisville and southeast of there. You're just outlooked for general thunderstorms. The greater risk for severe thunderstorms are as you go farther to the northwest, especially through portions of southern Illinois. So Wayne, Edwards, and Wabash County, you are included within that level 2 slight risk, while the rest of the tri-state in between, we are looking at that level 1 marginal risk. So not a widespread outbreak, but a few warnings here and there are certainly possible through tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. So here's one model's depiction on how this all plays out. It looks like we're going to have this decaying line of showers and storms moving in from the northwest. That's why our southern Illinois county is kind of getting a little bit more of the brunt of that through tomorrow afternoon, but it looks like between 1 and mainly 7 o'clock is going to be our greatest severe weather threat, and then I think a lot of this just becomes rain headed into Monday night and into the overnight hours, but still certainly rumbles of thunder possible there late into the night and into very early Tuesday morning. Then it looks like we dry out and clear out by Tuesday morning, but another round settles in headed into Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. And here's the more greater risk for the entire tri-state. Pretty much all of us outlooked here in that level 2 out of 5 category for scattered severe thunderstorms. So here's a look at how this model wants to depict this. The cold front still well off to our northwest at this point, but because it's going to be so warm and humid, we'll catch a few of those showers and storms popping up out ahead of that main line, possibly as early as Tuesday morning, but the greatest risk I think will be through the afternoon once we get into that daytime heating. And then the actual frontal boundary begins to kick in later on Tuesday evening. This is around 8:30. Again, take timing with a grain of salt at this point, especially for Tuesday, because we are a full 48 hours away from that. So things will be tweaked around here, but it does look like we still catch a couple of those severe thunderstorms headed into late Tuesday night. And then rain lingers through early Wednesday morning before we generally dry out through Wednesday afternoon. And again, we're looking at mainly a damaging wind and hail threat, but there is that risk for maybe a brief tornado for Tuesday specifically, because those cells a little bit more individual. Now, in terms of our rainfall amounts, which is something we so desperately need here across the tri-state, over the next 3 days, many locations will pick up at least a half an inch, some even closer to an inch and a half, especially with storms training over the same areas. You could even get closer to 2 inches. Now, hopefully, we can line it up to where we get most of this heavier rainfall to shift over portions of western Kentucky, because that's where they're experiencing that moderate to even severe or severe drought across those areas. The rest of the tri-state just looking at abnormally dry conditions. Now, even though we do have drought, there is still a concern, at least for some localized areas of flooding Monday and on Tuesday. For Monday, it looks primarily north of the Ohio River there, because those lines of showers and storms will be decaying as they push in from the northwest. So the heaviest rains off to the northwest, not so much over western Kentucky, but as we get into Tuesday, we're all kind of fair game for any sort of localized flooding issue. So it won't be widespread, but your typical areas that flood briefly, at least for any kind of thunderstorm action. So poor drainage areas, low-lying areas, under bridges and overpasses, you'll see some good ponding on the roadways there, but then it should drain off pretty quickly after those thunderstorms clear out. So it won't be long-lasting either. And then after those showers and storms clear out by early Wednesday morning, we'll be mostly dry through Wednesday afternoon and even into Thursday. This frontal boundary looks to stall out a little bit just to our south, so that may conjure up a few more spotty showers, specifically over western Kentucky by Thursday, but a lot of us remain dry even into Friday. Then it looks like by late Friday afternoon or Friday evening, we could kick up a few more spotty showers and a thunderstorm that may linger through Saturday, and then it looks like another area of high pressure tries to build in for Sunday. So a little bit of an unsettled weather pattern here through the end of the work week. So let me go ahead and take this full screen for you so you can get a better look at it. On the other side of this story is going to be those temperatures. We are going to stay warm and well above average here through Monday and Tuesday, and then we drop back down to right around average for the middle of the work week before we climb back up into the lower 80s by next weekend. So let me take a look at some of your comments. Cheyenne says, good evening. William says, interesting that the models are showing Monday being a stronger line and Tuesday hardly anything. Yeah, the models at this point, you can't really take them verbatim. I think some of the models may be overdoing a lot of the shower and thunderstorm strength for Monday and not really picking up on quite as much for Tuesday just yet. But yeah, they are kind of all over the place. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have anything super organized moving through the tri-state, so that always makes things a lot trickier. Typically, when we have, a nice solid line of showers and storms, it's a lot easier to track out and it's a lot easier to predict, especially if that line gets going outside of the viewing area first and then it moves in. But if you start to get these showers and storms that just kind of pop up over the tri-state rather than move through the tri-state, that always gets a little bit more complicated. Zach is asking about if it's going to be raining every second of every day for Evansville this week. No, we'll have plenty of dry time still. I think the wettest portion of the week is definitely going to be the first 2 or 3 days here. We dry out by Wednesday afternoon, and we may catch a spotty shower on Thursday, but I think Wednesday afternoon through Thursday should remain mostly dry, even into the first half of Friday. And then we should start to see a little bit more rain chances begin to pick back up Friday evening and then lingering there into Saturday before we mostly dry out by Sunday. Sergeant saying hello and good evening from Owensboro. Thank you for joining us. Hello to you too. Suzanne says good evening. William commenting about the models again. They haven't really been good this year. It's interesting. Yeah, they have been all over the place. It is interesting. Sometimes they hit the nail on the head, and you also have to know what models to use during which situations and at what time frame. So right now I'm going with models that are most consistent in what they're showing. Typically when a model jumps around from run to run, it doesn't really instill a lot of confidence in me to kind of broadcast that to you guys as a more solid timeline, but the models I chose have been fairly consistent on what they've been showing respectively for Monday and then again on Tuesday. I used our in-house model, which is a little bit better in that 48-hour time frame for Tuesday, and then I used a higher resolution, shorter range model to her to show you what the timing was going to look like for tomorrow. So you got to know which models to use at what different times and for which different setups. But of course, they're never going to be perfect. They are more so just a guidance, not necessarily, set in stone as to what's going to happen. So always keep that in mind, but the general consensus here is that we will have that chance for at least a couple of severe thunderstorms here Monday and then again on Tuesday. So just keep your eye on the sky. I have those alerts in there. Our primary hazards are still going to be damaging wind gusts and hail. Could maybe see a tornado develop or two maybe by Tuesday, just depending on how the storm mode plays out. If we get those showers and storms going out ahead of the actual frontal boundary, then that lends itself to more at least tornadic or supercells. But not expecting anything particularly strong or dangerous here. Again, it is still fairly isolated to scattered in nature. Looks like Leslie says hello from Madisonville. She got a little bit of rain on Saturday. We really need that rain. Yes, definitely useful across the tri-state right now. Any little bit of rain we get will at least prevent the drought from getting worse. I don't think it's really going to bust us out of the drought anytime soon, not until we get a really good soaking rainfall over the course of several days will that necessarily bust us out of the drought. And I'm not really seeing that here. More in the way of scattered showers and storms isn't going to really cut it for us, unfortunately. But hey, any little bit of rain, again, is going to help us out here. But that's all the questions and comments that I'm seeing. So I'm going to hop off the live stream and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe and have a great rest of your night.